Hello guys. In this video you'll learn about queue handling and batch processing. Queue handling is a core component of SKYVVA's batch processing architecture. Instead of processing every incoming data set immediately, SKYVVA places batch baskets into queues and processes them when workers become available. This approach improves scalability, system stability, and efficient resource utilization, especially when processing large volumes of data. What is a batch queue? A batch queue is a temporary staging area that stores batch baskets before they are processed. When a new batch basket is created, it is added to the appropriate queue rather than being processed immediately. The basket remains in the queue until a worker becomes available. Once a worker is assigned, it retrieves the basket from the queue and processes it according to the configured execution settings. This queue-based approach helps prevent system overload while allowing baskets to be processed efficiently. Queue processing flow. The batch processing workflow begins when a batch basket is created. The basket is then placed into a batch queue, where it waits for processing. The scheduler continuously checks the queue for pending baskets and assigns an available worker based on the configured processing rules. Once assigned, the worker retrieves the basket, executes the required business logic, and completes the processing. This separation between basket submission and processing allows the system to handle large workloads reliably while maintaining efficient resource utilization. Queue processing types. SKYVVA provides two queue processing types: EO, exactly once, and EOIO, exactly once in order. EO ensures that each basket is processed exactly once, without guaranteeing the order in which baskets are processed. This allows multiple workers to process independent baskets simultaneously, resulting in higher throughput. EOIO also guarantees that each basket is processed exactly once, but it preserves the exact processing order. Baskets are processed sequentially, making EOIO suitable for business processes where the order of execution is critical. EO versus EOIO. In EO processing, multiple workers can process independent baskets concurrently. Because baskets are processed in parallel, the execution order is not guaranteed, but the overall processing throughput is significantly higher. In EOIO processing, baskets are processed one after another in the order they are received. Each basket must be completed successfully before the next basket begins processing. This ensures transaction consistency and ordered execution, making EOIO ideal for dependent business transactions. Key points. Choose EO when baskets are independent and maximizing throughput is the primary objective. Choose EOIO when maintaining processing order and transaction consistency is more important than processing speed. Selecting the appropriate queue processing type ensures that batch baskets are processed according to your business requirements. In the previous diagram, we learned how batch baskets are placed into queues and assigned to workers. Now, let's look at what happens after a worker starts processing a basket. We'll explore the batch processing lifecycle, the processing flow, and the key features that make SKYVVA batch execution reliable, scalable, and easy to manage. Batch processing lifecycle. Every batch basket progresses through a series of lifecycle states during processing. A basket begins in the ready state, waiting in the batch queue. When a worker becomes available, the basket moves to assigned, indicating that the worker has accepted the basket for processing. It then enters the running state, where the configured business logic is executed. If processing completes successfully, the basket reaches the completed state. If an error occurs, the basket moves to failed. Depending on the configured retry policy, SKYVVA can automatically retry processing the basket, allowing temporary issues to recover without manual intervention. Baskets may also enter the hold state when processing needs to be paused or canceled if execution is stopped before completion. These lifecycle states provide complete visibility into the status of every batch basket. Batch processing flow. Once processing begins, the worker follows a structured processing pipeline. The process starts with the source data, which contains the records to be processed. The worker retrieves the next batch basket from the batch queue and begins applying the configured business logic during the process record stage. After all records are processed successfully, the worker performs a commit to save the transaction. Finally, the basket reaches the complete stage, indicating that processing has finished successfully. This structured workflow helps ensure reliable execution and consistent transaction management. What you get by combining batch queues, workers, lifecycle management, and automatic recovery, SKYVVA provides a reliable and scalable batch processing framework. This enables efficient job scheduling, parallel processing, automatic retry, error recovery, scalable workers, and comprehensive monitoring and logging. Together, these capabilities help ensure that large integration workloads are processed efficiently, consistently, and with full operational visibility. Here we are on the batch control board screen. In this video, we will focus specifically on queue handling in batch processing. We will explain how queues work, why they are important, and how they help manage and optimize batch processing performance. This video does not cover the complete configuration of the batch control board. If you would like to learn more about other batch processing features and configurations, please visit the SKYVVA YouTube channel for more detailed tutorials and guides. As you can see, we already have 5 working batch baskets. Each basket contains 100 records that were retrieved from the database table. In this example, we are using the agent database adapter to receive data from the database. However, you can use any adapter based on your specific integration requirements. In batch processing, a large amount of data is divided into smaller units called baskets for processing. When the number of baskets increases, processing them through a single flow can become slow because each basket must wait for the previous basket to complete. Queue processing in SKYVVA supports 2 processing types, EO and EOIO. Each type is designed for different business requirements. EO, exactly once. EO ensures that each batch is processed only once, but the processing order is not guaranteed. If multiple baskets are waiting in the queue, workers can process them independently. If one basket fails, the remaining baskets can continue processing without waiting. The failed basket can be reprocessed later. We use EO when processing order is not important. You want maximum performance and parallel processing. One failed basket should not block other baskets. EOIO, exactly once in order. EOIO ensures that each batch is processed only once and in the exact order it was received. The next basket cannot start until the previous basket has completed successfully. If a basket fails, the queue is placed on hold, preventing subsequent baskets from being processed until the issue is resolved. We use EOIO when processing order is critical. Each basket depends on the successful completion of the previous one. Data consistency is more important than processing speed. Now, let's go to the Queue tab. Click Search. In the first scenario, we'll demonstrate EO, exactly once, queue processing using valid data. As you can see, 5 EO queues have been created. Each queue contains 1 batch basket, and all queues are currently in the ready status, meaning they are waiting to be picked up and processed. Now back to the Working Basket tab. Now, let's start the processing. Select all the batch baskets, then click the Process button to start processing. Here, you can see that the baskets are now in the processing status. Go to the Queue tab. Click Search. You can see the queues are in the running status, and the job statuses are also processing. When all queues have finished processing, you will see the status change to ready, and the job status will change to complete, as shown on the screen. In this example, we have demonstrated EO queue processing with valid data. As you can see, all EO queues have been processed successfully, and each basket was completed exactly once. Since the data is valid, no errors occurred during processing, and all queues were completed successfully. Now, go to the monitor to verify the result. Click Search. Here, you can see all messages with the complete status. This means all records have been sent to Salesforce successfully as expected. Now, let's see Scenario 2. We'll demonstrate EO, exactly once, queue processing using invalid data. Here, we already have 5 batch baskets. In this example, 1 basket contains a failed record. Go to the Queue tab. Click Search. As you can see, 5 EO queues have been created, with only one queue containing the failed basket. During processing, one queue encounters a failed basket, while the other 4 queues continue processing normally. Because this is EO exactly once, queue processing, each queue is processed independently. As a result, a failure in one queue does not affect the processing of the other queues. Now back to the Basket tab. Select all baskets. Click on Process button. After the processing starts, go to the Queue tab. Click Search. As you can see, other EO queues have started processing. One queue has failed because it contains a failed basket, while the other 4 queues continue processing normally. This is the behavior of EO, exactly once, queue processing. Since each queue is processed independently, a failure in one queue does not stop or affect the processing of the remaining queues. After the processing has finished, you can see that 4 queues have changed their status to ready, while one queue has the failed status. Go to the Monitor tab. Here, you can see that some messages have the complete status, while one message has the failed status. This demonstrates the behavior of EO, exactly once, queue processing. When one queue fails, only the messages in that queue are affected. The remaining queues continue processing independently, allowing their messages to complete successfully, without interruption. Now, let's see Scenario 3. We'll demonstrate EOIO, exactly once in order, queue processing using valid data. We already have 5 batch baskets containing valid data. Now go to the Queue tab. You can see that only one EOIO queue has been created, and it has the ready status. This queue contains 5 batch baskets. Now, let's start the processing. Go back to the Queue tab. As you can see, the EOIO queue is now in running status. Since EOIO stands for exactly once in order, all 5 batch baskets are processed within the same queue and in the exact sequence in which they were created. Because all the data is valid, each basket is processed successfully one after another until the entire queue is completed. As you can see, after the processing has finished, the queue status changes to ready and the job status changes to complete. This indicates that all 5 batch baskets have been processed successfully in the correct order and the entire EOIO queue has completed without any errors. Go to the Monitor tab. See all messages with the complete status. This means all records have been sent to Salesforce successfully as expected. Now let's see Scenario 4. We'll demonstrate EOIO, exactly once in order, queue processing using invalid data. Here we already have 5 batch baskets. In this example, one basket contains a failed record. Go to the Queue tab. Click Search. You can see that only one EOIO queue has been created, and it has the ready status. This queue contains 5 batch baskets, with one basket that has failed. Now, let's start the processing. When processing is running, go to the Queue tab. Click Search. As you can see, when the first basket is processed with invalid data, the remaining baskets are not processed. Their status changes to hold because EOIO processing requires all baskets to be processed in the correct order. This demonstrates the behavior of EOIO, exactly once in order, queue processing. When one basket fails, the following baskets in the same queue are paused until the failed basket is resolved. After that, We can manually change the status from hold to ready and continue processing. Now go to the monitor to verify the result. Here, you can see the message results from the EOIO queue processing. The first message has the failed status because the basket contains invalid data. The following messages are not processed and remain in the hold status. This demonstrates the behavior of EOIO exactly once in order processing. When a message fails, the remaining messages in the same queue are paused to maintain the processing order. After the failed message is resolved, the remaining messages can continue processing. Queues help organize and control batch processing. With EO, exactly once. Each queue is processed independently, so one failed queue does not affect other queues. With EOIO, exactly once in order, baskets are processed sequentially, and if one basket fails, the following baskets are paused to maintain the processing order.
Summary.
In this video, we learned about queue handling and batch processing. Queues help organize and control batch jobs efficiently. We demonstrated two queue types. EO, exactly once, where each queue is processed independently, and EOIO, exactly once in order, where baskets are processed sequentially to maintain the processing order. Using the right queue type helps ensure reliable processing, better performance, and data consistency. Thanks for visiting our YouTube channel. See you in the next video.